Urgent! The president of the PSOE and the former Attorney General Alvaro Garcia Ortiz are implicated in the Pedro Sanchez dirty tricks case. Let's begin. Hello everyone and welcome to a new edition of Medidas Cautelares. And pay close attention because the president of the PSOE, Cristina Narbona, and the former Attorney General already convicted for unlawful disclosure of secrets due to that leak. Against the boyfriend of the Madrid president, Isabel Díaz Ayuso, Alberto González Amador, who is Alvaro Garcia Ortiz, they appear to be implicated in the PSOE's dirty tricks case. Listen closely, statements were made in court today. At the National Court by the PSOE president herself, Cristina Narbona, and from one of the prosecutors who was the right-hand man of Alvaro Garcia Ortiz. And certainly neither of them comes out looking good. Let's share this information on screen as we always do. By the way, if you haven't done it yet, remember to subscribe to the Medidas Cautelares channel. We just need one last push to reach 141,000 subscribers and we already have it on screen. The information we're going to review, and here you have a photograph of the president of the Socialist Party, Cristina Narbona, arriving at the National Court before testifying before the National Court Judge Santiago Pedras, in the context of the so-called dirty tricks plot. Well, the president of the PSOE, Cristina Narbona, has stated before the judge that she had no knowledge about the alleged dirty tricks operation within the Socialist Party, and that she was not aware of the role of the socialist fixer Lere Diez within the plot. The head of the Central Investigative Court No. 5 of the National Court, Santiago Pedras, decided to summon the president of the PSOE as a witness after some messages were exchanged between her and Lere Diez. In those messages from 2024, the socialist fixer talked about redirecting the attacks against the Prime Minister. What did she say? The president of the PSOE spoke to the media in a press scrum. One of those, right after her statement at the courthouse, she said this verbatim. I made it absolutely clear that I had no knowledge whatsoever of the alleged scheme that is being investigated. I have said from the beginning and I have reiterated that I met Lere in 2017 and that I have seen her a few times, especially in those early years. But what I absolutely did not know was that Lere Diez could allegedly be organizing a scheme within the party. It should be noted that this is what Cristina Narbona says now that she is cornered by some media outlets on television programs. In recent days, more WhatsApp messages have come to light that show a very close and direct relationship, even meeting up for lunch in Santander, etc., between the president of the PSOE, Cristina Narbona, and the fixer of the PSOE, Lere Diez. And the president of the PSOE is implicated in this dirty tricks scheme, Pedro Sanchez's dirty tricks scheme, because after all, this dirty tricks network was set up precisely during those days when Pedro Sanchez was reflecting on whether he was going to leave politics. But he was deeply in love after Begoña Gomez came under formal investigation and so on. And that dirty tricks network was created with the sole purpose of protecting Pedro Sanchez from all the judicial cases that were being investigated and that affected his circle, his party, his government, his wife, his brother, and so on. So the president of the PSOE, Cristina Narbona, is also implicated in the dirty tricks scheme because that direct relationship with Lere Diez has been made evident. We'll see what happens with Cristina Narbona after her statement today, in which she basically said, well, I knew Lere Diez, but I didn't know what she was doing. I was friends with her a few years ago, but lately not so much. Well, we'll see what the judge of the National Court, Santiago Pedras, thinks about this, who is certainly doing an extraordinary job together with the Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office and the Central Operative Unit of the Civil Guard, UCO, on this matter. But she hasn't been the only one to testify before Judge Pedras. Specifically, the former right-hand man of the former Attorney General Alvaro Garcia Ortiz has testified. We're talking about the former prosecutor of the Technical Secretariat, Diego Villafañe, who was directly the right-hand man of Garcia Ortiz in the prosecutor's office, as we said. and who coincidentally has been promoted to the Supreme Court. I mean, what a coincidence that a prosecutor has been promoted. He's involved in everything, showing up in many cases, and also, well, he was also charged for most of the time in that case opened against the Attorney General for the crime of unlawfully disclosing secrets, in which the Attorney General was eventually convicted, and he got away. Diego Villafañe, well, he was saved at the last minute, almost at the last minute, because they dropped the charges against him at the last moment and the investigation was closed. And he avoided having to sit in the dock, but he was Alvaro Garcia Ortiz's right-hand man. Well, today he also testified before the judge of the National Court, Santiago Pedras, as part of that case involving the PSOE's dirty tricks. And he said that he met with the then Attorney General after one of the meetings at the headquarters of the Attorney General's office, together with the lawyer Jacobo Tejelo and the PSOE's fixer. We recall that the PSOE's fixer and the lawyer tied to the Dirty Tricks case met at the headquarters of the State Attorney General's office on several occasions. I think the usual counts at least 4 or 5 times that they met in meetings at the headquarters of the State Attorney General's office. And in several of them, we don't know if Diego Villafañe was present at all of them, but he was definitely there at some. Was Diego Villafañe present at those meetings, who was then the right-hand man of Alvaro Garcia Ortiz, the Attorney General? Meeting with Lere Diez and with the lawyer tied to the Dirty Tricks case, Jacobo Tejelo, that's precisely why Diego Villafañe has been called to testify, according to legal sources. Villafañe has not given many more details about the content of that meeting he had at the headquarters of the Attorney General's office. But he has indeed acknowledged that he later spoke about that meeting with Alvaro Garcia Ortiz himself and told him that he had just had that meeting with Jacobo Tejelo. And I asked myself, is it normal for an ordinary lawyer and an ordinary PSOE member to be able to get several meetings at the headquarters of the Attorney General's office? No less than with the right-hand man of the Attorney General. What do you think? To me, it seems pretty suspicious, more than just suspicious. And I think Villafañe is involved. That's what I think. I think Villafañe is involved, just like he was involved in the Attorney General's case. And in the end, he got away with it. I think in this Dirty Tricks case too, because he had several meetings with the PSOE's fixer, Lere Diez, and as we say, with the lawyer Jacobo Tejelo, and those are meetings that have no explanation, mysterious what was discussed in those meetings. I hope that someday we can find all that out. Meanwhile, we have that this case could end up leading to the possible naming of Alvaro Garcia Ortiz himself as a suspect. Because in the end, or at least the summons as a witness, he will have to explain himself in court. What did Villafañe tell him about the meeting that Villafañe himself had held with Lere Diez and Jacobo Tejelo? The lawyer tied to the Dirty Tricks operation won't have to give explanations, and we'll see, as I said, if not, it could also end up turning into a possible move to name Alvaro Garcia Ortiz as a suspect. If we learn more details about what was discussed in those mysterious and controversial meetings at the headquarters of the State Attorney General's office. And this is the information we discussed on the Medidas Cautelares channel. And the fact is that currently both the president of the PSOE, Cristina Narbona, and the former Attorney General of the state, Alvaro Garcia Ortiz, who has now already been convicted of the offense of unlawful disclosure of secrets, after the leak against the boyfriend of the president of the Madrid region, Isabel Díaz Ayuso, are they implicated in the PSOE's dirty trick scheme? Cristina Narbona, before National Court Judge Santiago Pedras. She claimed that she had known Lere Diez for a long time, but that she was completely unaware of everything Lere Ten was doing regarding that dirty business of the Socialist Party. For his part, prosecutor Diego Villafañe, who was the right-hand man of Alvaro Garcia Ortiz, also testified and said that after meeting with the fixer of the PSOE and with the lawyer for the dirty trick scheme, he informed Alvaro Garcia Ortiz directly. We will see if after these statements, Judge Pedras makes any kind of decision against Narbona and against Alvaro Garcia Ortiz himself. Updates will be here on Medidas Cautelares with Miguel Ángel Pérez. That's it for this edition of Medidas Cautelares with Miguel Ángel Pérez. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, leave me your comments, your opinions, and what you think about the dirty trick scheme. I think it's picking up cruising speed, and as of today, I think it's unpredictable where this story will reach its peak. It could go all the way up to Pedro Sánchez. I certainly wouldn't rule it out. What do you all think? Leave me your opinions, And you already know that you can become members like the chosen ones for less than €4 a month, or like the supreme ones for less than €8 a month. You can also make contributions via Bizum at 627-556-370, 627-556-370, or 627-556-370. And today we're going to dedicate the program precisely to the last person who made a very generous contribution via Bizum, Joaquin La Orden, who is already a well-known friend of the channel. Joaquin, thank you very much for your generous contribution and for your trust here with Medidas Cautelares. Thank you very much, and thank you for your attention and for always staying informed with Medidas Cautelares. The most important thing, as I always say, is that this information reaches everyone, because information is power. See you soon.